Okay, so hello on the presentation about bot framework composers. So my name is Gosia Bożeńska. I'm originally from Poland, but I live in the Nottingham or near Nottingham. I live in Hog, Norway, where Ada Lovelace is resting place. So I'm also AI MVP, Office 365 developer. I'm really interested with new technology and anything new shining it's coming. So today I will talk to you about what are bots, what is bot framework, and also what we can do with bot framework composers, such as how we can start, how we can build, and how we can publish it. So starting with that, what are bots? The bots are applications that can automate our task more easily. They have a conversational interface, can go wherever your audience is going to. So it can be on web, on mobile, or anywhere they are. So it's not on one site only. And supporting bot technology is maturing because we're going to a lot of technology and a lot of data around us, and we need answer to have now. And bot is something what can help us to get this at this moment. And if we think about bots, there are a lot of chatbots that we are already using every day. So there are such as Siri on our iPhone if we have one of them, or Google Now on Android. There is as well the Alexa one, so she can speak at your home or any room that you have. Cortana on your workplace if you're using Windows machine. Or Messenger on Facebook is as well a really popular one to answer the basic question about your company. But if we think about bots, it's something new, probably we are wrong. So it's starting in 1950 when the Turing test came, and it was checking if machine can be intelligent based on text-only conversation. Then in 1966, the first bot created by MIT AI laboratory came, ELIZA. It was first human simulation conversation, and she was kind of therapy for users. In 1972 came Parry. He was a person simulated a paranoid schizophrenia, so it was a little different than ELIZA. In 1988 came Jabberwocky, and it was designed to simulate natural human chat in an interesting, entertaining, and humorous manner. And in 1997, it was released online, so when internet came on. In 1992, Dr. S. Bastio, it was first AI speech synthetic program created for MS-DOS, and it as well was a psychologist that interact with digital voice. And 1995 came Alice, so it's artificial linguistic internal computer entity. So it was natural language processing bot, and she could apply a lot of patterns to human input, but she not passed the Turing test. And next came in 2006 IBM Watson, a lot of machine learning things and as well bots. In 2010 came Siri. 2 years later, Google Now. In 2015, Alexa. The same year, Cortana. And 2016, bot for messengers. In 2016 also came Thai. I don't know that you remember, but this was a bot created by Microsoft. It was she, and she should be a teenager and learn from people how to be a teenager. But unfortunately, it came with really nasty, Nazi personality. So after a few hours, Microsoft needed to get down this bot from Twitter. So this all what we're talking about, it's called conversational AI. And there are agents that can do a conversational with the humans, with us. And the example of this one is bot framework from where we can start working on. So when we're thinking about bot, we need to think as a normal application. So we need to plan what the bot will doing. We're going to build this, test that it's going okay with us. If not, go back to build and again test. If we are happy, we're going to publish it, add connectors to connect with other things like Teams, Slack, or other channels that user will use. And next, evaluate, like all programs need to be evaluated and back to build and do these things again. So for example, pizza order bot. Pizza order bot first, when user come, need to greet user and then ask user what they wish to order. They can select the pizzas, what we offer, prompt the pizza size and what kind of pizza they want, dough or crust. Then if there any sauce type user would like to prompt for toppings on and ask of adding extra one if they would like to. So creating until user will say no. Yeah, so this is repeat one. And next ask for cheese because maybe someone don't like cheese on the pizza. How cover this pizza, full or half? If there are any side orders, also we can create a repeat loop until there will be no more side orders. Ask for what kind of delivery they would like to have, ask for payment, confirm order, and we can finish conversation. So this is the easy way of how we can plan the bot, what we need to think about when we're going to order a pizza. So we've designed the user experience. We also need to think what we would like them to see. So for example, it should be only the text one, or the user would like to speak to the bot, or have some rich user controls that they can click on them, or add extra one kind of adaptive cards like audio, animation, carousel, and any other what we would like to have. And one thing what is good to think about if we have really big business is to create the agent hub to hand off to humans. Because if you want really something from the bot and it's not getting your answer correctly, you would like to speak to human, to real person that will answer all of this question for you. So we have Agent Hub and there are two ways. The Agent Hub will check that there is any human ready for answer. If not, then going to bot. Or we can create a message router that you first talking to bot because maybe you will get all answers from this and then go to Agent Hub and find that there is any human that you can talk with. And bot framework, when we're going to start, we're going to start with input. So user going to tap, speak, or click anything using some channels, or if you would like to use some devices as well. And this all is based on Azure Bot Services. And this is enough to create a bot. And from this, we can start how it will work. The extra one, what we can go is add cognitive services such as speech, QnA, language understanding, vision. We can also brand personality of the bot. And extra bits we can add such as any data sources or add skills such as mail, task, connect to an API, Office Graph, or Azure Directory. And when we're going to chat with bot, it's always going with HTTP to check. So when user join conversation, is going with HTTP post. If it's okay and connection is established, it's going to bot join and saying some greetings information such as hi. And our user will start first and saying hi, and then bot will reply to you said hi, and still the connection will be established until we finish conversation with bot. And bot framework is an open source project, So if you are a developer, you can work on any language you like, so Node.js, Java, JavaScript, Python, C Sharp. Everything is on GitHub with SDK that you can use, is CLI tools. There's emulator, web chat controls, a lot of great documentation, and as well bot builder samples that you can go and see how the bot working. But we came today to not talking about coding, but about bot framework composer. So the difference is that it's designed and built on conversational experience. So you don't need to know the coding. It's visual authoring canvas, and it can integrate with all understanding tools such as LUIS or QAMaker. It's using language generation to create a response for bot. And again, it's open source and you can find all code on the GitHub. And as well, it's cross-platform, so it doesn't matter what kind of OS you like, you still can use Bot Framework Composer. So one on bit is language generation. So with language generation, we can go and create what response will be. So like greeting prefix, it will be hi and or hello, and bot will just randomly select one of this. And then we can just create some if else of the time of the day, what is coming, and then connect this both together in the response with the reply. Also, the good one is language understanding. If we more would like to go with user experience. So we can do three things. We have utterance. So it's something that user might say, such as hi, hello, or good morning. And we have entities as well for things like fun, light, or location like Paris, Roma, or other things that we know that this will be a location that we're looking for. And the intents, it represent what we're going on. So if someone will say, for example, good morning, we will know that it means greeting. And on this intent, we will create the response from bot. And this all is on natural neural language understanding concept. And I really like this GIF because it's showing how machine learning can start working and finding all information only based on text. So it's really great creating and training from on Microsoft side with language understanding to find this all bits. The extra one what we also can add is QAMaker. So it's easy question and answer. So any question user will ask, we can add them and they can find in our bot. And as well, we can connect QAMaker and LUIS together. And with a query, we can create a dispatch and ask where it should go. So if we know that it's a QAMaker, or it's more like LUIS and more specific question or something what it can do, for example, switch off the light. And bot framework composer is based on adaptive dialogue. So we have things like recognizer, we have action what bot can do, and we have triggers that when someone will type anything, we will run this dialogue and actions of the bot. There's also a memory of turn, dialogue, and user that we can use and remember to have this flow of conversation between us and bot. And as well, we can add a lot of other services. Example is cognitive services, but any API that we're using, it's really easy to add and work on them. There's also personality chat. So this is in preview and you can use this in your bot. So there are things like how your bot will go with your answers. But if you create a QnA you have this personality chat automatically that you can add. So it's really good and friendly response that you can add So how to start with Composer? How I mentioned, everything is on GitHub, so this only what we need to install is .NET Core SDK version 3.1, Bot Framework Emulator to see how it works, and Bot Framework Composer. We can as well build this composer locally, so we can download the code, and from code we can run it, then we'll be open the website. And extra one what we need to install is Node.js and Yarn to install, build, and start this composer. But if you would like to work together with your team, you can as well host this on your site. This what you need to do is add extra bits. So probably you need to have Azure subscription. You need to have VM with install all necessary information. And with Nginx, you can run this and host Composer on your site and work together with your team. So this is how Composer looks. So we have some menu, we have the triggers that we run, we have navigation, and other property that we could add. So let's go and see how it works. So this is the Bot Framework Composer. And this is what we have when we see, we have a lot of examples that we can come and start with. So let's see, for example, EchoBot. So I will go with bots. So we can change the name, we can add description, and this easily it's going to run for us. So next we can go and start and see how the bot working. So in this bot, we have a no intent. So anything you will write, it will go back and say this exactly what you type. And as well, we have some grading. So when we join, it will come with response, welcome user. The response we have in bot responses. So we have welcome user and it's in common. So it's saying welcome to the EchoBot sample. So let's run this one. I have a version not that update every night. So the extra one, probably what you will not see is open web chat. So it's extra one, the new one. And here when you as well can go and it will be answered for you. But I don't want to restart. So as well, you can open this in the Bot Framework emulator. So you're just going to click test in emulator and it's going to open for you. And with this one, we have more information that we can see. So we have a debugging screen. So it's going to say what kind of message you sent, what it was sending from you, the bot state, and this all pause and waiting. If we're going to restart, we as well can go with restart conversation with new user ID, or we can go with the same user as well. So let me close this one. So this is the basic bot when we can go and start working on. So what we have here, we can add, for example, new dialogue, and we can say, for example, help. So if we don't know what bot will doing, we can start with always help is the best one. And we can go with send response. So we can just type, I'm here to help you. And to run this, we need a trigger. So we're going back here to add a trigger. And this bit is with Louis. So if we would like to use Louis, we need to add all this information. But for now, we don't want to connect to any of them. So the easy way is to change recognizer type to regular expression. Okay. And now when we add trigger, we're just asking what is the name. So we can add again help. And this is what we'll type how it will work. So now when I restart, oh, sorry, one more, we need to start a dialog. So we're going to start a new dialog. And here we just select what dialog we're going to start. So it's this one what we just created. So let's restart one again. So we can see that it's going to starting. Now it's running. We can again test in emulator. It will open for me. And now when I type help, it's going back with this dialog what I created. So this is how easy you can create all dialogues and run with triggers. So let's stop. And there are also a lot of examples that we can go with them. So we can create a to-do with Louis or dialogue question. So, or just simple to-do. With simple to-do, it will not connect to Louis, but will create everything for you. So we have dialogue like add to-do, clear to-dos, delayed, and show. So it's really good to go through this all examples and see how they works. And we can see how all of this response will going back with every of them. And again, we just easily can go and start bot and it will going to creating everything for us and we can test how it works. So always the first one starting is a little longer because it's going to build and do everything. So allow access, that's in emulator. Always when you click this one, it's open new one, but you don't need to open and close. You can just click restart new conversation here. So again, we can start with help if we don't know what bot doing. So we can do add a to-do and test. And it's add a new to-do list. So we can check and come back, help. Okay, so it's trying to be fun. So with all this response, we can see what they're doing. So when we go to common and help function, we have here all this information. We can also go and see this in the code, how it works. So like here we have if the user have one to do, it's going to show this one, other is different. So when we have this bot already, we can go and publish. So with publish, we need to select new profile. If we don't have one, we can create. So we're going to add a new, add the name. So it's our name, it's nothing specific. And this one we can host this is on web app, Azure Function, or Power Virtual Agents. So it's really up to you where you put this bot. So I will choose Azure Function, and then it's going to create resources for me. So only one thing here what people don't like is that you need to use your work or school account. You cannot use your personal one when you have for testing. But this is the idea how it's going. So I will just use my work one. I'm going to authenticate. Okay, it sent me message. So now I can create a new Azure resource group. So I can select where it should go. I can add a new name of my resource. I can add the name of resource group that need to be unique. So let's add some name. And I can choose as well the region. So I will choose UK South, for example. But if I would choose UK South, I need to have different Lewis one region. So Lewis is only on West US, West Europe, and Australia East. So on this case, until it will not come to UK one, I don't want to send between regions. So I will back to West Europe. So next, our quick review. And the base what we need is will create for me is application registration because it's new application, my Azure function when it will be run, and Microsoft bot channel registration. And then extra bits, what I can add if I will work with bots, it's Azure Cosmos DB, application insight to see how the bot working and adding any extra data to analyze, blob storage if I would like to send all information and host them somewhere, or have attachment files that should be sent, language understanding. So there are two. Language understanding authoring is when we would like to only put information about what user will say and what intent will have, or Azure prediction account when we would like to give AI to predict what user will say and then analyze what they say and how they interact with bot, what they typing. And extra one as well, we can add QAMaker to add our Q&A. We don't need to do this, but we can add also later. And then we're going to click done. So now it's provisioning this all Azure resources. So let me check on my Azure now. Okay, so provision success. I have here a bot test and it's create for now the function. But the bot is not published yet, so I need to back here to publish, click here, and publish selected bot. I can as well write a comment and click OK. And now it's going to publish and giving me all information what it is doing. So now build my bot. Next will be zip them, and when it's zipped, it will be pushed to Azure function. So it's little take a while, and I can see then next here that slowly will show all information. So the main thing is bot channel registration, what we'll use, and we configure our bot later. So here we have channels that the bot will start working. Okay, it's still adding. So the first one, we have a web chat that is automatically added, but extra one we can add direct line if we would like to put them on our site. So we can click and done, and it's added for us. We can add them as well on Teams and configure them and publish and have all information how to publish to tenant catalog. So we can go save. Already we can start using them and test it on this channel. So it's really easy. There are as well more channels such as Alex, Facebook, but then you need to little bit know how to create application on the Amazon or Facebook site to create all of this information. But all of them you have here. So you have only one bot that you create in Bot Framework Composer, and then you can put on other channels. There are more channels as well that you can add here, but you need to add a little more coding. To bot also, this what we can go is add configuration and authentication if we have we want authenticate bot. So we can add the name of the connection that we'll put to bot composer. And we can select the provider. So how you can see, there is a lot of them that we can use as Azure Active Directory, Dynamics, Facebook, Office 365, Spotify, or any other that user can come and authenticate with their user and login that they have for the services. And I'm going to show you one of this bot that I created. So it's Office 365 Mercury bot. So how it works. When user will try to get a profile info or meetings information, other stuff, it's going to start with authentication. So we're going to get a user token, and here is my connection name. So only this connection name I need, because all information about how to get I put in the config. So in config, I have my app ID, I have my password, and only this what you need to authenticate when you add all these bits to the bot registration. And then I assign the user token and I'm logged in. So like if I would like next to show profile, I need to call first to get authentication, and next create a simple simple API call. So in this one, I'm calling the graph. So it's going to get information, my graph URL, authorization with user token that I will just get from it, and how it go with value and what it's going to back. And then based on the response, if it's okay, so it's 200. I have all these properties such as display name, mail, given name, job title, mobile phone, and other stuff, and then show it on the profile. As well here, what I use on greetings, I have user one, so let's go to bot response. And this what I'm using the adaptive card. So adaptive card is simple a JSON, and it's easy to go and create. So when we go to adaptive card, okay, let's try on this one. Adaptive card. So get started. We have here a card designer. So you don't need to log in, you don't need to do anything. You just have this portal one, and you can just come and type what you're working on. I'm using version 1.2 in this case. And you have here all information how you can put the visual things for you, what kind of image, what kind of information it will be go. So to do that, you need to just create a JSON. And after that, with user, you need to add activity called attachments and parts to JSON. This is what you just created. So let's see how the bot is working. Test in emulator. Okay. And now it's going back with my hello message. So I not type anything, it's just I joined the conversation and it's going back. So I can click help and it's again going back with another adaptive card. So I would like to see my profile. So it's typing exactly this what entity I put, and I need to log in, and it's going to log in me with my credentials. So it's now singing me, it's remember. So I will copy this bit, put my number, and then I have all my information that it's going back. And this is the simple how it works and how you can add an API that really easily work for you. And to do that as well, because it's using adaptive, it's using it's using Active Directory. So you need to go to Active Directory to get this all information. Go to your app registration, and here you're going to create a bot. So when we go to authentication, we can see information how the user can authenticate. And here are a few bits. So for this bot, I create that it can create with any Azure ID, doesn't matter from which tenant, and as well can create with personal Microsoft accounts, for example, Skype, Xbox. But as well, you can create that it will go only on your Azure ID and no one else will come, or only with work or school Azure ID. And next, you need to add API permission. The max API permission what you can add is 30. So you need to think what you're adding. If not, then you need to create new Azure, new application for that. So you need to add. So to authenticate, the base one is Open ID. And if you would like to get a profile user is profile. But extra bits as well you can add just clicking add permission. And as you can see, there's a lot of permission you can add using Active Directory only. For this, I use only Microsoft Graph, delegate permission, and here what you can add and what user can see. So this is resources that you can use. So it's a bot framework composer on Microsoft Docs. There are some step-by-step how you can create a weather bot. Bot emulator when you can download them, QAMaker when you can go and Lewis, Microsoft Learn as well when you can go also step by step and go with this, and adaptive card what I show you today. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and you can find me on my website, Twitter and Instagram if you would like to. Thank you.
Can we somehow create hybrid bots where the middle part, this is the interesting thing, where the middle part is taken care of by an actual human and then go back to the bot for instance, payment or completing the query session?
Yes, the answer is yes, but I'm not sure how you can create this with bot framework composer. With normal bot framework, you can do it easily. But with this one, I'm not sure. But
Okay,
the main
but
answer
it's
is
possible.
yes, you can, yes.
Perfect.
Right. So when you're using a bot framework, I'm presuming it's cognitive services that are powering the bot framework under the covers, is it? And if that is correct, is there a good way to limit the cost of cognitive services in Azure?
So bot framework not using cognitive services until you want to use this.
Ah.
So it's not using this. What main thing it's using is how I create the my bot. So bot test. So this is the simplest one without anything. So I have only app service plan because I need to have my application. I create a function, so it's on the function one, and bot channel registration. So only this three is for basic bot if you don't want to use Lewis, QnA, or any other cognitive services.
Cool.
I think we have a follow-up question on that. Would it be okay that I move it, Mark, to
Yeah, go for it.
up here? Because the question is the actual bot in the function, or is it in the channel registration, or is the bot channel only the link to the consumers of the bot?
So the real bot is in Azure function because the code is, and Azure and bot channel registration is to consume the bot and add more channels and distribute them for other channels and care about authentication and other stuff. But the code is in the function or web app or Power Virtual Assistant, I think that it's called, because you can
Perfect.
choose where it should be. But the real code is, it needs to be because it's a code.
And then we come immediately to the next question. What kind of code do we get? How about version control? And can you connect the bot framework composer to some kind of repository like you do with Data Factory, for instance?
So let me, one moment. Okay, so let's see this EcoBot. So this is the code what was creating, and I'm going to open this in Visual Studio Code. So we have our dialogues, knowledge, help, and this is in QnA, for example. We can have in LG, so language understanding, and here's kind of pseudocode what we're using. So this how it's going to pack all of this is as a zip and pushing, and it's later understanding. So it's not simple like code because it's based on a lot of JSON files and LG understanding and other recognizers things.
But it's still accessible code on my computer that I can check into my repository of choice.
Yes, I think yes.
Yeah.
So the one
Perfect.
thing on here is when you're going to publish, you can create your thing. So you can create your publish profiles, and next you can pull from selected profile as well if there is any changes. But it's still, I think it's still to cooperate. It's still they working on this. That's why they create this bit that you can create a site on your virtual machine when you can cooperate with all of this. But if I will pack this one as a zip and send to you, you can still use the bot.
Perfect. Thanks.
So next question, it's slightly off topic and it may be a little unfair to ask you because it's not what you've come here to talk about, but what is the best way to deploy bot code created through the bot framework? And I'm specifically thinking of pushing the code through DevOps. So I'm wondering whether ARM would be, sufficient to push all your bot code through DevOps to Azure.
So because there are two ways, it's bot framework and bot framework composer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about bot framework composer because I'm not work with DevOps on this bit.
Yeah.
But with normal bot framework, it's like normal application and you can go exactly the same as normal app that you're working on.
Right. Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay, the longer we develop our bots, the more intelligent they get. Do we have a limit on how smart they can be? When does the code or options take too long to run? So it's pretty much unbearable to load the bot or use the bot.
So there is something called skills, what you create. So if you know the area of microservices, it's something similar. So you create a smaller bot that will doing the skill things and you can separate them and then you can use together. But it's only our imagination how bot will look like. But we can separate this bit to not go here and see too many dialogues and overwhelming ourselves.
Cool. So next question. Since bots can work with and connect with other bots, it almost feels like things can get quite complex very quickly. If this assertion is true, are there any ways of working to keep things simple?
First, design your bot and think what exactly you would like to achieve from this one. And then create it. So I will start from this bit. So because it's true, you can overcomplicate it and you can really find yourself like there is too many things and you couldn't find how you can work on it. And I agree, you can do this really, really easily. That's why the first bit for bots, in my opinion, is to think and design what it should do. And if it's more complicated, create the skills and then add to your bot. So it will be less complicated when you come and see. Even if it will be still huge, it will be smaller.
Great, thank you.
Related to that, skills. Does it make sense to create, for instance, a login bot and then create a chain of bots in order to create these complex flows? Probably the meaning is, does it make sense to create one bot to handle one part? And then when you need to expand, you create one master bot that actually asks the slave bot the subtasks. So we have a bunch of tiny bots that know their subject, their skill. Or do we
Yes.
want to have everything in one big, large bot?
No, you can create a skill. So on Microsoft site, if you came, there is some samples of skills. So for example, calendar one, what you can do, like create a meetings, getting your events, schedule a meeting with someone else. So this kind of skill is only for calendar one. And this also how you can create like kind of models, what the bot should do, and then get them together in your bot.
So we could actually create a model that has the skills about cars. So whenever my main model detects this is a question about cars, it goes to the car skill bot and
And do
lets it take
something with
over.
the car, yes.
Ah, cool. I think that looks kind of useful, don't you, Mark?
Yep, that looks really good to me. I'm really looking forward to trying it out. It's one of those many things on our list, I think, Mikael, that we need to try out.
Yeah, if you will have any question, you can come and I will try to help you.
Well, you don't want to say that to us, Gosia, because we'll be speaking to you tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I like speaking about bot.
I think that was the end of the questions for today. Again, thanks a lot, Gosia. This was really interesting and well, really thanks. This was wonderful, interesting, and I really have to try this out.
Yes, thank you for having me, and I hope you will do some bot and you will show me.
We definitely will.